I'm my only challenge. The only person I try to impress is me. I've already impressed the rest of the world. Funny, you see people from the street, when they get in the room with executives, they turn into the weatherman. They're like, what's wrong with you? Make them change their diction so they understand us.
Right.
When do you stop having sex?
I don't know, because I'm only 32.
That's what business is for me.
Okay.
It's like sex.
What's going on, y'all? I'm Mia Bell. We're back with another episode of BET Talks, and today I am sitting with the OG, okay? He's a proud father of 5, a loving fiance, the CEO of his own life, and the writer, producer, director, the creator of Honor Up, that is now on BET. Dame Dash, how you feeling?
Feeling good, you know?
Honor Up, it came out in 2018, but we're re-releasing. It's on BET, and a whole new audience is about to be able to see this independent film that you put together. I know that you've been pushing it so much, as if you know you're new to it, but we know you're not.
Well, I am new to this. And when I say new to this, you know, as it relates to making movies,
Right.
me putting up my own money and me directing, me producing,
Right.
and me distributing. This is the first time I've been 100% independent. So, you know, the thing, what happened with Honor Up, and, you know, I'm glad you got to meet my crew.
Yeah.
And you got to meet Daniel, OG Daniel.
Shouts to OG Daniel.
Shout out to OG Daniel. Those guys were the first dudes that hit me with any work. That was my entry level into the streets, and they guided me. You know, in the jungle, they made it relatively safe for me and never put me in positions that would compromise my future. You know, there were things that they did sometimes that I didn't agree with. And there were things, sometimes there were things I wanted to do with them that they didn't let me do. And I would be like, why? Because I'm young, because I'm soft, whatever. But honestly, in hindsight, I know it was to protect me. On television, you know, you see people getting killed and blah, 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 and it looks cool and shit, and you think it's gangster, but in real time, it's a really bad feeling. It's a disgusting feeling to see a family grieving their child, or a child losing their father. The disenfranchisement of a family and the intention of it, the pattern of it.
Right.
When Biggie got killed, like back in the day, an artist getting killed wasn't like normal. It f***ed you up in the whole music business up for like a while. I really considered him a friend. It broke my heart when he died. You know, and then I lost Aaliyah. And again, a lot of that came through the bullshit that comes with this business. People that, you know, make you do things you don't want to do, make you compromise to the extent that you lose your life.
Right.
And that's what's crazy about this business, us risking our life for them to get the lion's share of our money. And that's where we think we're winning, but we are stupid as hell. That's where we think we're free, but we're actually slaves. And that's the reason why we never change anything, because we think it's normal. The best way to keep a slave complacent is not to make him think he's a slave, make him think he's free. So anyway, I wanted to be away from all of that shit. Art gallery, smoking weed, if you wasn't chilling, like violence was played out. And, you know, something happened with Smoke with his management, and I didn't see him for a couple of years, and I ran into him. We reconnected, and while we were kicking it, he was like, yo, I want to introduce you to my man, Murder Mook. There was this night that A$AP Rocky came around to like on 120 something street. Right. So everybody was out there, Cam came around, and Mook was there. And we went back to A$AP Rocky's house, a crew of us, and he was showing me his battle rap. And I was like, damn, he acts familiar. Like something about his energy was familiar to me. And then he told me he was from 127th Street, which was Daniel's block. And I'm like, yo, you know my man Daniel? And he was like, nah, I don't know no Daniel. I'm like, you gotta know Daniel. It was his block, right? So a couple of days later, he come down to my Poppington Art Gallery in the Lower East Side, and we talking, and I'm still like, how you don't know Daniel? And Blackface pulls him to the side and goes, I think he's talking about Nico. I think Nico's real name is D. So then they show me a picture, and it's Daniel. I hadn't seen him in 25 years. Told him, I was like, yo, you know, bring him up. But like, I want to meet, you know, I want to see him. And I had been shooting the movie at the time called Los Sigas. Okay. And he pulls up, convertible BM, and I'm like, he's the same, he's more animated, he's better, he's like a superhero. He looks better than he did before, like he's stronger. And
he looks great in the movie, by the way.
And a lot of that movie, he didn't know the camera was on.
Wow.
So for example, when he's like, yo, you got that chunky black, you gotta stop smoking and all that, he was just talking to me.
Yeah.
That's the way we talk.
Okay.
So he pulls up, and one of his homeboys, Papa Stopper, was, was acting in that scene.
Okay.
And he was telling him what to do, so animated. I'm like, yo, get in the movie, man. And then from there, I started to have all these like core memories of things that affected me when I was young.
Right. And
in that moment, I started to find out that people that I used to work with, that I was very close with, were working with people that were informants.
Right.
And imagine if, as close as any one of those people were in that room, and everyone's hustling together and getting money, and you get caught, and so you don't go to jail, you put people that you love in jail. And that's, to me, is where it becomes just, it's just terrible. Like, I'm not mad at cops or people that, are accountable for what they do. It's the non-accountability that bothers me. A lot of the guys that were from the street and that lived by these morals and codes, once they got in the corporate world, they kicked all of it. And that's why I left. I'm like, y'all working with rats? As you see, it's very weird out there for a street guy. So for somebody that lives in a certain lifestyle, it might not be weird. But for guys that have had to maintain a certain degree of respect for themselves and conduct themselves a certain way to stay alive or not go to jail, it's just not conducive for that kind of person. And that's me. And that's the reason why I felt I had to make this movie. Also, Lee Daniels at the time had owed me $2 million. And I knew he had it, and it was really bothering me. And when you come from an environment where you used to deal with things by putting somebody in a trunk, knowing that you could never do that again, you have to internalize. And I had to get therapy because I have no release for these motherfuckers that keep violating me based on how I was raised. That scene where Mook is sitting at the table and he's like, yo, I'm gonna play you for the money you owe me. That was really what I wanted to do to Lee at the time. So that was like my release, my therapy. And
that was for him. That scene had me sitting at the edge like, oh my God.
Because that's what would happen. Can you imagine giving somebody $2 million and then they get 10, or it appears they get 10 million, they run and they're just not paying you.
Right.
And that was your money that you were using to keep your independence. That was my freedom, was that 2 million. Well, getting back to the story, the purpose of Honor Up, or when I ran into Daniel and all these things, I just started shooting. And I had some money and I just started shooting, no script. And I had 100 people out there. And what I learned from spending this money on my own is that I don't have to spend so much money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially with all the innovations today. And if you notice, like, I make everything match. I feel like it is art. You saw when the crackhead was smoking crack?
Yeah.
That was a real crackhead with real crack.
Oh, I knew that.
That's art.
I knew that.
Every time somebody was shooting a gun, that person that just came home from shooting a gun. For me, you're not thorough if you shoot your gun. That doesn't make you a man. Now, if you shoot your gun and go to jail and you are accountable and do that like Lou did 27 years, he did not tell.
Yeah.
He never shot or did anything with anybody that wasn't in the business. With all these things going on, people owe me money, people I used to hustle with working with snitches, all type of shit. I'm like, it's time for me to showcase the cloth that I'm cut from. And because I got the bread and I'm seeing people I haven't seen in so long, this is my thank you to y'all for protecting me. And the ideals of being a good dude in a bad environment, being honorable, that just don't exist no more, and it don't have to, but this is why I don't with y'all. These are the people I grew up with. These are the people I'm still connected to 25 years later. No one would hire me to direct. No one would hire them to act. I had Daniel on a Porsche with Stacey Dash.
Yeah.
Now, imagine when we were 16, and one day I'm gonna be able to put you in a movie, put you on a Porsche with Stacey Dash, I'm gonna have you lit playing yourself. That's a dream.
Yeah.
And it costs money to do that. You can't look out for the people you love unless you pay for it. You can't ask somebody for a favor for someone else. You need a favor for yourself.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make my own version of my Paid in Full with my friends' stories. I wanted my friends to be able to be in it. I wanted to do it myself. I had to prove to myself that I could do anything they could do on my own. And for a guy like me, it's so demeaning to have to ask somebody for money for my ideas. I'm a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
I don't want no other man funding my ideas.
So you did it yourself, and you did it with people who...
that I love.
Yeah, that you love and that love you.
And that impacted me in a very positive way in a dangerous time. This is my thank you to them. So everything is a memory of something I saw.
Okay.
In a very edited way. That violence was not exaggerated.
And there was a lot of violence in there.
That's what I was seeing every day of my life for like 3 or 4 years.
And I think it's really important for you to also speak on that, because we're living in a time where street life is different.
Because it's social media.
Right. Social
so everyone
media.
sees it.
Right.
And then everyone tells on themselves.
Right.
And there's no OGs to say, what the are you doing? You're going to jail.
Yeah.
So, and also there's an outlet to where you could leverage doing illegal things because another culture is making profit off the dysfunction of ours.
Right.
And they're pushing that algorithm.
So
they're pushing the violent algorithm, and the majors, when they sign an artist, an insurance policy that actually makes them more money if they go to jail or die. They can't lose when they sign their contracts if one of these wild dudes die. That's why the initiative is drill music.
So what do you say to people who may criticize all of the violence that they see in the film?
You're supposed to learn from it.
Because there are learning moments in there.
That's the point. I'm gonna teach you, like, I'm trying to talk to people, not that are converted, people that are still active, still think it's all right to do this, but they need to know I know what it is because I was there. The whole theme of this is to teach honor.
Yes.
How to be good around bad people. Do you know how hard it is to navigate through a world where everyone's cheating and you refuse to cheat because you're only trying to prove something to yourself? I'm my only challenge. The only person I try to impress is me.
Yeah.
I've already impressed the rest of the world. I'm pushing myself to do things that make me go, damn, you a bad, you an ill dude.
Right.
Any filmmaker knows how hard it is to make a film, to pay for a film. Pay for a film and get it seen.
Yeah.
And also, I got to put it on my own television network, my own streaming service. So it was on Tubi, but it's still on American News. So,
And now on BET.
And now, well, to me, this is the big, I call it Bet now.
Yeah.
It's not BET no more, it's Bet.
It's Bet?
Bet. BET spells Bet. Bet American News.
Tell us about the partnership. What is happening with you and Bet, BET?
So again, if Honor Up does well, then that turns into Honor Up the TV show, which is why I just wrote 7 episodes.
Right.
Storyboards and everything. I'm like 170 pages deep.
And are we gonna see the same characters? We got Cameron, we got Styles P.
I don't know about Cameron, but I spoke to Styles and he's not busy, but those characters, for me, whoever really loves the project enough to promote it, those are the people that I write the storylines about. But again, this is more about my life.
You have a lot going on. You're working very hard.
That's just one vertical. So then there's the music vertical, Blue Rock. I just did a rock and roll album with Freeway that I have to put out. All live instrumentation, the old fashioned way, no electronics at all. Got the best guitar player in the world. He just got off tour with Slash. And that's still a Rockefeller project to me, but it's on Blue Rock.
Yeah.
So I have my
different
own
version of that.
It's my version.
Your
of it.
version.
You have to remember, it wasn't mine. I'm the businessman.
Yeah.
And also, people that weren't from my culture were paying for it. I had to prove to myself that I needed to prove to me that as a black man, I could do it. So I could say that all y'all could do it. You don't need them. It's funny, like the other day, Lou was like, yo, what's your budget? What they give you as a budget? I'm the boss.
Right.
I'm the big homie. You understand? Like, I'm the plug in the situation. Like, how could we be the plug in the street and then be a customer in corporate?
Yeah.
We bosses no matter what block we on. It's funny, you see people from the street, when they get in the room with executives, they turn into the weatherman. They lose the slang, change the diction. I be like, what's wrong with you? Make them change their diction so they understand us. So again, even Paid in Full was so violent that it should make you not want to hustle. A good time in the street comes with a bad time.
Yeah.
It's almost like not even equal. It's like you have 10 minutes of fun for 10 years of pain. You understand what I mean? Like, my man just came home from doing 27 years.
Crazy.
That's the majority of his life.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because he started to get used to going to jail, because when he started as a kid, they made it to where, they trained him not to be out. They trained him to stay in.
Absolutely.
So the recidivism rate for a child, like, I go to the jails in Chicago, it's like 99%. They come into jail, they don't give them therapy, they give them medicine.
Yeah.
It's the CUT program. It gets them high, then they put them in class, teach them dated education, and put them back out on the street with a 4th grade education.
All for them to
reading
come
level,
back.
which guarantees they're coming back. So that's the kind of the issues that I'm dealing with, is the DNA. It's about the DNA, the things that make the person. So the that happens young dictates who you are when you're older, and the actions. But again, there's choices. Let's say someone has a father that's an alcoholic. You could either become an alcoholic because of that or never drink because of that. it's still your choice.
Yeah.
So that's the point. It's the perspective that you're looking at things and the violence and all. That's why I'm like, why are you looking at this violence? No, it comes with a funeral. It comes with jail time. It comes with your friends betraying you. It comes with, you gotta know when to stop. So the thing I knew what to do, I knew when to stop. Where's the dream? Life without a dream is not a life. It's a depressed existence if you're not fighting for something that you love every day. And God will give you challenges every day. There's not one person I know, rich or poor, that doesn't have problems. And for me, I'm like, I'm gonna choose my problems. I'm gonna choose my struggle. Because if I'm sitting around waiting for problems, then I'm gonna have to deal with God's and his off the hook.
Right.
Them hurt. I see people that don't do and have problems, and I'd be like, maybe if you were doing something and you were occupying your time, he wouldn't occupy your time. So make your own problems. Make it something to fight for. But make my problems is fighting for love.
Yeah.
And the people that aren't, because they don't love themselves. The majority of this world hate themselves. This is what I'm dealing with, and they hate me for loving me. They hate me for loving all the people I love in the way I show it. They hate me for that because they hate themselves. Of course I'm a trigger to someone that is losing, because I'm winning.
Right.
Of course someone that thinks they're winning or perceiving or making people think they're winning because they're cheating and they know they're losing, of course they're going to try to make it look like I'm losing so that they don't look like they're losing.
I'm sure it gets a little difficult sometimes. Not everything is easy.
Nothing, it's only easy if you love it.
Right.
So like if you
love it.
if you boxing and you getting punched in the face but you're knocking somebody out, it's not like it's like you enjoy it, but it comes with work. So everything I do, I enjoy my struggle. The people that worry about the money the most are the people that aren't doing anything to make it. Those are the ones that worry
that's
about
a gem dropper right there.
I'd be like, you're not even, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the one out here working, so what you worried about?
Right.
So every vertical that I had a partner with, I had to prove to myself that I could do it on my own. So I could keep it. So I could give it to my children. You know, the average person doesn't, you know, from one social class, they don't become a millionaire for the first time till they're after 50. I did that like I was like 19, 20. You know, a lot of the normal dreams that people have, I can't even think normal because God did not present me with a normal life. I don't have normal friends. So I was around the illest in the street, like paid in full. Like I'm telling you, Rich used to hit us with work.
Right.
That's crazy to someone that never been through that. But then I'm talking in the same conversation. Yeah, I used to kick it with Biggie Smalls. Like that was my man. Like we used to get, that was the only dude I used to get high with. We used to get drunk. Stick Gators came from me making him throw up on his mate.
Come on.
That's my man.
Right.
And Jay-Z and all these historic things, I've been there for it. Michael, you know Michael Rappaport?
Yes.
I've known him since I was like 8 years old.
Wow.
We used to play football together on Champions. He was older than me. You know Malik Yoga?
Yes.
We grew up together. I know him since I was 6.
Wow.
I don't know how this happened. Every like street legend, some way, shape, or form, I know them.
Right.
Every legend from hip hop, from my generation, I know them.
Of course.
All the situations that people that are going to teach and historically in colleges, I was there with my eyes. Like I saw it. I'm clear enough to appreciate that. And once you like are like the Forrest Gump of culture and you're around every part of it from the most authentic part, you're not worried about the same things that normal. I'm playing a different game. I wish I could give you my eyeballs so you could see what I'm thinking and what I see. And I'm curious to know what you're thinking. Like I always wonder how people see themselves.
Yeah.
How they see them. Like some people are completely depressed and have a great life, but they don't see themselves as happy. I'm like, what's wrong with you? How do you see yourself? The most beautiful people be the most insecure.
Is it true?
Because they're so dependent on their looks. So even when I was younger, my thing was, you know, because I was like a handsome young kid, you know what I mean? Like a little, you know, and I was like, I gotta act ugly. Because the confidence of ugly get all the girls. In Harlem, being a pretty boy was like, that wasn't what you wanted to be. Certain people you wanted to be a boss. That's what the girls wanted. That's why I was like bald head, fade. Like I just think things that people think are cool, I think they are corny. Like Harlem laugh at all day. That's why people are uncomfortable because they never know what I see. Because I see your insecurities, I can see when you're not authentic because I've seen authentic. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, if you're like a hip hop dad, that your whole life is you're rapping all day and, you know, big chains and all that.
What is dad life for you right now? Because
Everything.
you have a little one
my
too.
Whole life. That's all I do. Because I had to fight hard for that baby. And I've had 4 other children before that, but I was never really with their mothers. So I've always been a visiting dad, and all I've ever wanted was a family. I knew what hurt me the most when I was young was my mother and my father never being able to be in a room together. And as a child, I would give away all my toys for my parents to get along. And I know how uncomfortable it made me feel, and that cycle I didn't break for the first 4 of my children. And that was damn near the most important thing. So I quit the music business because I needed to take care of my daughters. I didn't want any men around those girls but me. It's my family became my business. And what I do is I invest in the woman I'm with. I've invested in Applefish Kids, is the whole children's vertical. We have books. And we have 4, we've already made 4 books, 2 regular books, 2 coloring books, a movie, a soundtrack, and toured 40, 50, 60 schools. We've sold 60,000 books. So we made a book that teaches kids how to dream and also gets their cognitive skills up. They don't do books like that no more. And these are issues that I'm not gonna complain about it, I'm going to fix it. If I don't like the curriculum that they gave us because Thomas Jefferson implemented it a couple of 100 years ago, and it was meant for a black man to learn how to listen to a white man. And for a white man to know how to tell a black man what to do. They still have that same curriculum. We have to make our own curriculum. I'm not going to complain about anything as it relates to my children. It's my responsibility to do it for them. So if I don't like the content that he's looking at, we made our own. If we don't like the books that he's reading, because we didn't write it, we made our own. Again, this is the first time I've ever been able to raise my child, to be with my son every single day. I wake up every morning, no matter what I do, and I take him to school, and we pick him up from school. And I haven't missed 1 doctor's appointment. And he's obsessed with golf. At 3 he started, now he's 4. But he has passion for something, he plays golf. He got a girlfriend. For 2 years. He's already been in a long-term relationship. It's crazy.
He's like his daddy.
He wears a bucket, he wears a bucket hat. He won't take that white bucket hat off. And he's very concerned about his outfits. Funny dude, like, no, I'm not wearing that. Like, and the other day he was telling me, yo, don't talk to me like, no, he said, don't yell at me like that.
He got Harlem in him.
It's crazy, all the way. You know, it took me to a certain time to, like, I wasn't the guy that you think would be like wifing up one chick. What I had to show my daughters is how a man's supposed to be in a relationship with a woman. My daughters had to see that. I don't live for me, I live for my children. And they're adults.
I love when men know how to treat women right. You know what I'm saying?
Find out what your woman's dream is and make it come true. Because if you don't and I do, then she's gonna be my woman. If I make your dreams come true, you will fall in love with me, and you're gonna break up with your man, you're not gonna look at him the same. And if your man won't make your dreams come true, then he's not your man. Move on. You can have a boy toy, but no, it's just that. So if your man's not asking you what you want to do and he's not helping you get there, he wants you to be dependent on him.
Are there any expectations from the women in your life to pour into you in a certain way?
The thing about a dream is there's a fight that comes with it. So, like, for example, you can't work with me unless you have a dream. So Nikki Licky, who's an artist, and the reason why she's an artist is because she has been helping me build my dream. So now, if you help me, I gotta help you. I don't pay people enough to just work for me. What happens is, I'll go, this is really what you want to do? And they'll go, yeah. And you know, like, there's some qualities in you that I would probably have to break. So that means, you know, if you're not doing something, I'm gonna be bringing it to your attention. If I tell you something more than 5, 6 times, it's probably gonna be in a way you don't like. But it's only to get you where you gotta go.
Okay. You know, positive reinforcement, of course.
Positive. Like, you ever seen a coach coach a team? Coaches yell. So I'll be like, look, I don't want to do this with you because I don't want to yell at you. And no, please, you sure? No, you sure? You really want to do this? And if they sign on, sometimes it can kill the relationship, and that can become problematic. But you know what happens is after they get where they got to go, they forget all of the yelling that happened, just like the coach. But it's traumatizing for me. I don't want to be yelling at a woman that I like, because people don't like to be told what they're doing wrong. It's a chemical thing. It makes them feel bad. And also some women, like, they feel like they're being, like my girl. Sometimes I give her advice and she's like, yo, like when we start to argue about things, she'll be like, it'll come out, she'll be like, I just feel like you're controlling me. And I'm like, I'm just telling you not to get hit by a train, to move out the way.
You have to explain that part though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It comes with hindsight to really understand if you're gonna care about somebody, that you know may not have the qualities yet, but could have the potential to get them where they got to go. To do something at a professional level takes a lot of discipline.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know what kind of discipline it takes, you might not really, like a lot of people don't want to be professionals. They want the money and the benefit, but they don't want to wake up early. They don't want to be mad at people not doing what they're supposed to do on time. They don't want to put up the money. They don't want to go through the loss before the game, you know? And that's what being a professional is. It comes with pain.
You spoke about therapy earlier, and I want you to dive deeper into that and your therapy journey.
When Aaliyah died, that one disturbed me to my core. It's changed me for the rest of my life. And there's so many things at stake that I had to make sure that my emotions weren't dictating my action. You'd be surprised in a business level when you think, like when someone dies, you think people ease up off you. That's when they get at you. They try to take your position.
Right.
They try to take your block. That's when you got to be sharper than ever. And you have to lead by example, because if it happens to somebody in your crew, they're going to act how you act.
Yeah.
So I had to go to therapy to make sure I was doing. I went to 3 different therapists, like in 3 days, and all of them said you good. You know what I mean? Like, not that I'm good, but I was dealing with it correctly. What I really had to go to therapy years later was when I was trying to, because my Tallulah and Abe, when they were children, she did everything she could court-wise, so I couldn't see them. So I used to have to go to court to see them. She would have like Ava test, like it was crazy. And one of the things that had happened was I had to go to therapy to be able to see my little one, Tallulah. That's the one where I really learned some.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I'm glad I got this therapy. The key thing was that when my kids were young, like Boogie and Ava, I would bring them to my office. I would bring them in my environment a lot.
Okay.
And I was thinking that was spending quality time with them. And they were like, nah, that's the worst thing to do. The best thing to do when you're with your child is you have to go to their world. If you have a 7-year-old, then you have to go to a 7-year-old environment.
Yeah.
So with Tallulah, I had Tallulah time, and I would create a whole world. And where we live now, it's like, you know, that's why we moved to Florida on a lake, and it's just me and him and his mother.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all focused on his time and his world. Again, if you go to American New and you watch Healing is Gangster, the problem is black people don't go to therapy. So therapy comes from the study of behavior patterns.
Yeah.
But if you don't go to therapy, there's no black people for anyone to study, so they don't know how to deal. Black trauma culturally is different than another culture's trauma.
Right.
So because we don't give up the data, it's hard to get the help.
Right.
And it's hard to get the help from someone that speaks our language. So I was able to identify a therapist, Tajay from LA, that has been through everything and more that I've been through, but got through it. I wanted to make therapy cool, making yourself better cool, being a good dad, cool, doing things independently, cool. And a lot of what I do, I get like ridiculed for years ahead of time, but then 10 years later, I watch it all actually affect the next generation. All this like streaming, I knew all of this was gonna happen in 2005. I bet the bank on it. Because I was so ahead, and sometimes it's like the person that understands things first usually doesn't win. Because they spend all their money making mistakes, and then other people observe, and they go raise money and blah, blah, blah.
You gotta watch somebody else do it.
So I'm hoping that, you know, me leading by example and, you know, betting on myself, and then also showcasing, you know, you do have to have patience to start to monetize, and then you have to know how to make, you know, verticals, different ancillary things. So Honor Up is a franchise. So there'll be a doc, a clothing line, a movie, a television show, you know, there'll be a tour, there'll be a soundtrack, there'll be art, there'll be at least 8 things.
Do you use a lot of ChatGPT?
Not for ideas, to organize my ideas, to break down the script, to tell me how many people need to be casted in, how many outfits, how many locations.
Right.
It does that relatively quickly. Like it's the kind of thing that I have to pay like an AD to do, like an assistant director or a line producer.
Right.
And they would charge me, just to break it down like that, they would charge me $1,500, and they're putting it in a program.
Wow.
You gotta know what AI can do, because you don't want somebody charging you for something that you think they're doing, and they're using AI, because that's going on a lot.
Yeah.
So I just can't be a sucker.
Okay, I don't want to say when does it stop, but 10 to 20 years from now,
when do you stop having sex?
I don't know, because I'm only 32. I'm still in my early 30s.
That's what business is for me.
Okay.
It's like sex.
Okay.
It's something I really
And that
love.
doesn't stop at a certain...
When do you stop having sex?
I don't know, you gotta tell me.
When do you want to stop having sex? But I gotta tell you, I ain't stopped at all.
Right. But do you know anyone who has?
I'm asking you personally, when do you think you would stop having sex? That question, how vague it is and how you can't answer it, I'm just giving you
it's how you feel about the work.
That's how I feel about business.
So there's no stopping 10 to 20 years?
Unless I'm uninspired.
Right, because you love it so much.
The trick is to do something for free, or something that you would do for free. Make a lot of money from that.
Right.
Like guys making money from streaming and playing video games. That's the most brilliant of ever. To showcase to the world that you could do something that you love that everyone thinks is a waste of time and make millions from it. That's a you to the rest of the world. And that's why I think I trigger so many people. They're like, well, how does he have so much fun for so many years?
Right.
I laugh a lot, like every day.
That's important.
All day. You gotta remember, I discovered Kevin Hart first. Paper Soldiers.
Are you guys good now? Like forever good?
He's Kev. Again, for some reason, every person that I put on, they don't like to help for some reason. It's like they resent me for some reason. I don't know why.
Right.
So if I would have asked Kev, like I caught him in the store, like in Barney's with Uggs on one day, and I put it up on, and he got mad about that. But I'm like, you a comedian, snap all the time. But you was wearing Uggs because he had teased Cameron about something, and Cam called me like, yo, this Kev, he kind of got at me. I said, he knows you with me. When I see him, I got him. And it was like, for some reason, I hadn't seen him in years, but I just ran into him.
Right.
And Barney's.
With Uggs on?
And again, I just was cutting him up. And for men, it's like, I asked him to repost something and shit. Nobody, it don't cost $1 to support it.
But I do want to know what you do for health too. How do you keep up with yourself?
I'm diabetic, type 1, since I was 15.
Wow.
I was looking at my blood sugar. Okay. My shit is right. See that straight line?
Yeah. You're doing great.
I smoke weed, I drink, and I still make sure that my A1 is at a 6.8. Okay. I'm a vegetarian. So I think the best way to be healthy is not to eat food with GMOs and meat, and flesh will kill you fast.
When did you become vegetarian?
Well, I've been on and off.
Okay.
When I was younger, because meat has always disgusted me.
Right.
Farrakhan sent for me one day, and I was a little like worried, like Farrakhan wants to see you. I was like, okay. So I went. You go when he calls, you go. So I went to his farm, and he said, you're the only one talking about farming. And that's what he's been teaching for so long. And then he showed me the farm, he showed me about compost, he showed me about non-GMO seeds. Wow. He taught me so much, and I was like, damn, I wish the world would see this part. And also, he had people that just got out of jail working their children on the farm and all that. So I think growing your own food, not trusting the people that want you dead to feed you. And what I do is I box. So I've been boxing most of my life.
Right.
And I hit the bag for 3 rounds. Working out is important. Muscle memory is important, especially at this age. But I was thinking about how I wanted to be at this age about 20 years ago. Yeah. And I started to invest in that.
A lot of forward thinking, which is something that we have to do as a people. And I want, this interview to end on a note of legacy and what that means to you.
You have to dream about what you want life to look like when you're not here. And a lot of people don't hustle past the graveyard. Right. Life is fairly short, but infinity is long.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do right here so I know I'm all right. Like, I've seen people close to me go to hospice and be real scared because they didn't live a good life.
Yeah.
Like, I know where I'm going. Like, to know you're going to hell is very scary right before you go. I've seen it, the fear in people's eyes. And then I've seen people that have had good lives and then be very, like Clark, when he died, man, I spoke to him a week before.
And you just knew.
I couldn't believe he was giving me advice. Like, I was like, anything you want me to do? He was like, yo, just be a better version of you. He was still dropping jewels.
Of course.
He was very calm. So, I just know that no matter what, when I'm not here, that I want my children as adults to be looking at that picture and saying thank you, because we never had to work a day in our life other than what inspires us. And then I leave enough structure and mentality that the legacy can last. Because usually what happens is first generation is good, right? Then second generation maintains it, but third usually f***s it up. I study families that have generational wealth.
Right.
I want to know where it gets f***ed up, where, things, and I know I could see it, but I want to teach my grandsons how to act.
The love that you have within yourself is what you have for others. We see it, we feel it, it's honorable.
You can't love nobody unless you love yourself. And
right.
I love myself a lot.
Oh, we know that.
How much do you love yourself?
I I love myself a lot, and I'm learning to love myself even more.
Every day you love yourself.
Yes, and that is also why I'm in therapy too, because I think it's really important to get to know yourself and to love the parts that, you know, scare you sometimes too.
Scare is an artificial emotion that's been implanted to make us stop fighting for things.
Right.
Fear is something that's taught to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And also, affirmations are important.
Yep.
So if a black guy says he's fly, then he's conceited and cocky. But if Swami, part of that, and just I love myself, I'm great. That's one of the things we do is affirmations.
Yeah.
Affirmations have to be in your language, not someone else's. Whatever makes you feel good, that's the language you got to speak in.
Okay.
Every day, you tell yourself how fly you are.
Come on.
If
Leave
that's
us
what
off
you
with
like.
some affirmations right now. That's how we closing it out. You say it, then I'll repeat it.
I am great.
I am great.
I am confident.
I am confident.
I am a superhero.
I am a superhero.
I'm fearless.
I am fearless.
And I'm gorgeous.
And I'm gorgeous. You see it. It's BET Talks. Mia Bell, Dame Dash. Thank you for being here. Yeah, we did that.